Why have they been removed? And Congress, under the Transparency Act and the subpoena, have a right to see them.
The Justice Department says it is reviewing the index and will release any documents that may have been improperly withheld. Michael Wallace, CBS News.
A third round of talks between the U.S. and Iran underway in Geneva in hopes of working out a nuclear weapons agreement. News Nation's Tom Dempsey reports while both sides are talking up diplomacy, the U.S. is beefing up its military presence in the Middle East.
Just this morning, the USS Gerald Ford, the world's largest aircraft carrier, left a base in Greece to head to the Middle East as the U.S. builds its forces in the region, leading to even more chatter that strikes could be coming against Iran if no deal gets reached. Iran has already warned that if the U.S. conducts any sort of strikes, U.S. bases in the Middle East will be targets.
Those talks happening this morning, a brief pause in the discussions with more talks scheduled to happen later tonight. A Wisconsin State Representative, Sylvia Ortiz-Velez, has been charged with disorderly conduct after an alleged confrontation with another member of the state assembly.
Prosecutors say Ortiz-Velez was upset that another unnamed legislator did not include her in the drafting of a resolution honoring Latino veterans. According to Capitol Police, Ortiz-Velez then threatened to contact the press and tell them the other legislator was engaging in, quote, inappropriate personal actions. Prosecutors say this was outside the bounds of free speech and political rhetoric. In September, Ortiz-Velez allegedly made a comment about shooting 3 members of the assembly she's had personal disagreements with. John Mercure, WTMJ News.
A state Senate Special Oversight Committee is looking into the Wisconsin Department of Justice and its use of special prosecutors. Hours of testimony yesterday from Attorney General Josh Kaul centered on the DOJ's use of legal fellows from New York University. Republicans claim those attorneys influenced the department's decisions on environmental cases. State Senator Mary Felskowski.
And this committee is going to review testimony, and we're going to look at what should we change statutorily, if we need to change anything.
In response, Kaul says his office did nothing wrong, and the fellows allowed the DOJ to prosecute more cases.
I think it is clear from what we have seen so far that that report is going to be partisan, slanted, and cannot be taken seriously.
The committee is scheduled to meet again in April. Time for news about your money and the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. The Dow was up 65 points, sitting at 49,540. The NASDAQ off 329 in the red at 22,800. And the S&P 500 is down about 49 points at 6,896. Financial planning at every level. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Details at annexwealth.com. Sports, traffic, and weather are next. Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 10:04.
Day after day, year after year, the heavy lifting, the repetitive motion, and now your body feels it. Your back, your knees, your quality of life.
At Access Legal, we stand up for people worn down by work.
Workers' comp is our sole focus, and our team has recovered more than $35 million for Wisconsin workers. From sudden accidents to pain that builds over years of hard work, we're dedicated to fighting for the benefits you're entitled to. If you've been worn down by work, contact Access Legal for a risk-free consultation.
Search AXIS Legal today.
Hey, John Mercure here for Mend Studios. You deserve to feel better. You deserve to feel healthy. You deserve to feel great about yourself. Mend Studios has a long-term wellness as the goal. That's how they're going to do it. That's how they're going to take care of you. I know and trust the therapists at Mend Studio. They customize every single treatment, and they've got multiple locations. They're in Mequon and Brookfield, both convenient, both easy to get to. Start at the website, mendstudio.com. I never feel better than I do after a session at Mend. Mendstudio.com.
Your European experts at Fox World Travel are ramping up and busy as ever. When you want to see more of Europe, Princess Cruises delivers. With Princess Cruises and Fox World Travel, explore iconic Mediterranean ports by day, then relax in classic comfort by night. From immersive shore excursions to destination-inspired dining, every moment is designed to feel effortless. Ready to set sail on your Mediterranean adventure? Call 866-GO-FOX-GO or visit foxworldtravel.com to book your European getaway.
Education changes everything. It opens doors, shapes futures, and builds the foundation for our children's success. At City Ford Forward Collective, we're working to transform our city's schools and ensure every Milwaukee child receives the high-quality education they deserve. We've taken real steps forward, but our work is far from done. This giving season, we're asking you to join us. Together, we can secure a stronger future for our children and a stronger future for Milwaukee. To support our mission, visit cityforwardcollective.org/donate. That's cityforwardcollective.org/donate.
Time for a WTMJ sports update from the Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all sports desk. Milwaukee Bucks continuing their homestand this week. Back in action tomorrow night, but coming off a reverse buzzer beater. Kevin Porter Jr. hit the game-winning shot for the Bucks, and they held on to beat the Cleveland Cavaliers 118-116. Cavs thought they tied the game at the buzzer.
Oh, no, it's still in his hand. I thought he got it off in time, in real time, but the replay clearly shows the ball still in Jared Allen's hand.
After review, it would be no basket.
Bucks will be home tomorrow night against the New York Knicks. College basketball, UW Milwaukee, a win over Youngstown State, 78-65. Horizon League tournament will get underway next week. Wisconsin struggling in the second half as they fell on the road to Oregon, 85-71. Badger Sports Updates are sponsored by Siding Unlimited, siding, and a whole lot more. Spring training baseball, Brewers will be against the Rangers this afternoon. Our next broadcast tomorrow afternoon when the Crew take on the White Sox. Take a look at the roads, your WTMJ Time Saver traffic. 41 southbound right at Watertown Plank Road. Part of the left lane is blocked there due to some repairs. Not really causing any backups, but just something to be aware of. And then our typical slowdowns, 94 east and westbound in our construction zone there near the stadium. Otherwise, rest of the system looking good. We'll see cloudy skies as we move throughout the rest of our day. High getting up around 41 degrees. Tonight then partly cloudy, a low down to 31. Friday sunny, breezy, and we are going to warm up. Highs in the upper 50s tomorrow. And then we cool down into the weekend. Saturday cloudy. We could see some light snow, maybe some minor accumulation with a high near 32. Right now it's 28 degrees in Madison. We're sitting at 27 in Waukesha, and it's 28 degrees in Milwaukee. I'm Neil Doyle, Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 10:08.
Broadcasting live from the Annex Wealth Management Studios at the Avenue. It's time for Point Taken. Here are your hosts, Steve Scaffidi and Kristin Brey.
And good morning, everybody. Happy Thursday. If you celebrate Thursday. I don't know what that means.
Right.
How are you, Kristin Brey?
I'm good. Just, powering through. I get 2 more days with you, Steve.
And then I'm gone for a while. 2 weeks gone. You're going to miss me, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
at least the banter.
It's definitely easier to do the show with you.
Probably why most of the shows have two people. Yeah, it is easier. It also, I think it's better.
I think it's better, too.
Yeah, because whatever you think you are on radio, it's always it's good to have a sounding board, someone to listen to the words you're saying that can actually respond like face-to-face, real time. I know that we all love our listeners, but their feedback comes by way of email and text. The face-to-face stuff. That's why I always try to, as much as I can, focus at you when you're talking so I can really, because I've been accused of not being a good listener. I disagree with that, but I want to make sure that I'm hearing what you're saying.
Who says you're not a good listener?
My wife, Kathy, over and over and over and over again. So I think that's a common thing with men and women in relationships.
You know what I think it is? Because I would say there's equal parts of things that Mike thinks he tells me that I'm like, you never told me that, and vice versa. I think it's sometimes you don't always you spend a lot of time with your spouse, and there's times where you are talking and they're not ready to listen. So both are true. It's like, I told you, you may not have been listening, and I was not aware that you were not prepared to be listening. That's
exactly it, I think. Right.
And so,
you have to be focused
it goes
on
both ways. There's times where he's like, I definitely told you this. I was like, no, you didn't.
You're right. It does go both ways. So
I'm not talking for Kathy. I'm talking about my own marriage.
Yeah,
so.
I think it's the fun of relationships, right? Even though I've been with Kathy for 40 plus years, and you've been married for a while, and it's
not that compared to that.
No, but you're a lot younger than me. I think it's part of the fun of a relationship. You figure that stuff out. I was going to use a different word, but I chose not to. All right, the big story, at least for me, was the MU Law School poll. We always look forward to these things. They're really good at what they do, I think. And for those who, like I saw some of this last night, it's only 800 and some people. That's how representative sampling works. You're not going to talk to 8,000 people. You have a really scientific sample based on a lot of different characteristics, a lot of demographic things, and that's how you do it. You try to balance on partisanship, all those things. And I think the MU Law School poll, led by Charles Franklin, probably does it as good as anybody.
I think they do a good job.
Yeah. So I'm curious, because I have a list of like 6 things that I thought were like the big takeaways. I'm curious what your big thing was.
What's fascinating to me is that we are 5 weeks away from our spring election where we're electing another Supreme Court justice. And compared to, at least since I've moved back to Wisconsin, so in 2020, I moved back right around for the race of Kurowski, and which was not record numbers necessarily for how much was spent, but it was still a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
And this is like the least amount of hubbubaloo.
It's quiet.
It's quiet. And part of that is because Judge Maria Lazar, has not raised a ton of money, so it's not like she has a lot of money to spend on ads. While Judge Chris Taylor, has raised a fair amount of money, and I see some ads for her. But it's interesting in how it's played out is that, for the most part, they have the same numbers as in this poll of haven't heard enough. As of Lazar's 62 and Taylor's 59. And so I don't know what that will mean in the next 5 weeks of how, if it will heat up, but it feels so tepid compared to at least the last 3 races, if not 4.
So I've sort of projected my own feelings about this, and my takeaway was that with, as you said, less than 2 months.
Yeah. I mean,
2/3 of voters.
It's basically March, and this will be what is the exact date in April? It's the first Tuesday in April. But like, even that, the fact that I don't know that, I usually always know the election day.
Yeah. The traffic is light on commercials. You mentioned that point. I take it a different direction. If you tell me that 2/3 of voters say they're undecided, I say 2/3 of voters are just sick and tired of all the politics. They're just sick and tired of it.
So
leave me alone is what they're saying.
So this was the headline, because similarly obviously there's only one candidate for Republicans right now, but there's a lot of candidates for Democrats. And so if you go further in the year to the August primary, they also polled on frontrunners, or where people stand on knowing who they're going to vote for in the Democratic primary. And 65% said they're undecided. And some of the takeaways, I think Journal Sentinel wrote this, because I think Craig Gilbert, brilliant.
Good as it gets.
His analysis was most people have not tuned in yet. So I did a very a very unscientific poll on social media last night, because I consider myself someone who will vote in the Democratic primary, who is very tuned in, but is undecided. And so trying to, because Gilbert said most people are not tuned in. So I was wondering more of for the people who are undecided, is it that you're not tuned in, or that you're truly undecided even though you are paying attention?
I think it's the former.
You think it's the former?
Yeah. I don't think anybody's undecided about that. A small number.
I don't know. I got a lot of comments last night. Again, unscientific. I am not actually keeping track and putting this in a spreadsheet. But there was a lot of people who said, what I will say so far that I think we also saw reflected in the poll is, out of the people who know for sure who they're voting for, at least according to my comment section and people who are engaging there, it's predominantly Hong. People who are like, I know who I'm voting for. It is Francesca Hong.
She's done very well. Surprisingly
And then
well.
there was a lot of people who have a top 3, but still need to learn more.
Hong surprisingly well. Mandela Barnes surprisingly not well.
She's still leading.
Yeah, she's got to be excited.
11%.
I saw some of her tweets and posts yesterday. She's very happy about that. She should be. I will say this. She's working hard. She's getting around. She's doing a lot of different events. I would say some smaller events, not these big mega parties that some of the candidates in other races and other times have done. But she's doing what people like when you go to their town and you listen to them. We're talking about listening before. And I think she's doing that. Now, I don't think she would say anything other than she's on the far left side of the political equation. But she's not embarrassed about that. She's confident in what she thinks about politics and where the state should go. I applaud candidates who are willing to put their reputation on the line, so I give her credit for that.
So this is what I was thinking about yesterday, and I would love to hear from our listeners, 855-616-1620. As you're trying to get to know candidates in an election year, what do you think the focus should be on? Is it releasing comprehensive policies? Because we're seeing each week, it feels like one of the candidates has, this is how I would deal with childcare. This is how I would deal with immigration. This is how I would deal with health policy. So is it learning about their policies and trusting that they have solid policies that you agree with? Is it actually getting to see them in person and have a real conversation? So like you said, showing up in different towns all across the 72 counties. Is it getting to know them via social media? Like, in the limited resource of time and effort in this year, what do you think is the biggest bang for your buck when everyone needs to raise their name ID? Is it policy, in-person events, social media / let's say media in general? Would love to hear from you. 855-616-1620.
Quick break.
What's up, everybody? March 27th, go get your tickets. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be me, Finance After the Kumpo, my co-host, Tony C, and Nature Boy. Woo! Ric Flair. It's going to be nice. It's going to be dope. You guys are going to love it. It's going to be an experience, and we're going to have a lot of fun. It's basically a party / podcast.
Yeah, we're throwing a party at the Riverside, March 27th, TALiveshow.com. Who's the guest again? Can I get a woo? Woo! With Ric Flair. Can't wait.
See you guys.
Hey, this is WTMJ Steve Scaffidi for this month, Valentine's month. Yes, that's a thing, Valentine's month. Milwaukee Weight Loss. Love talking about them. Sharing the love with $300 off during their Valentine's sale. Now through February 28th, which is coming up pretty quick this weekend. It's a perfect time to fall in love with the results that you get from Milwaukee Weight Loss's program. I did it last year, lost 45 pounds. Maintain the weight loss. It's the secret to losing 1 pound of fat every day. None of the gimmicky stuff. None of the shots, injections, surgery, all that stuff. You want to look great for Valentine's Day month or an upcoming event, reunion, wedding, trip, or just for yourself, for your own self-motivation. No more losing weight, gaining it back. Get rid of the yin and yang of weight loss. Visit Milwaukee Weight Loss. Schedule your free consultation. $300 off, but you got to do it before the end of the month. So do not wait. Valentine's sale ends February 28th. Lose that weight. Here's how you do it. Call for your free consultation. 262-449-1180. That's 262-449-1180 or visit MilwaukeeWeightLoss.com, MilwaukeeWeightLoss.com.
In 1987, the Bucks took on the world and changed basketball forever.
At stake, basketball supremacy in the United States.
Bucks versus the World, narrated by Charlie Behrens, is the new season of Behind the Bucks podcast, presented by Gallagher, your trusted insurance broker and HR and benefits consultant. It's the untold story of the 1987 McDonald's Open, when the Bucks became the first NBA team to face the Soviet Union. Listen now on Bucks.com/plus, the Bucks app, the ESPN Wisconsin app, and wherever you get podcasts.
Kristin and Steve on this Thursday edition of Point Taken, where you can find us. If you miss any or all of our broadcasts, the podcast page, you're going to notice in the year 2026, we're going to be all over the place. That means all social media platforms, YouTube. What else am I missing? Our website, a lot more content, a lot more links to things that we've done either on the show, away from the show, podcast stuff. We've sort of re-resurrected our You Need to Listen in sort of a different way.
Oh, yeah, let's do one before you leave.
Well, let's get that scheduled because I'm gone after tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Yeah, we have to be.
Pick a topic. So we got a new not safe for work episode to post.
Yes. All right. So a couple other quick takeaways from the MU Law School poll. This is one that I wanted to know. I think I said it on the show. I said I got to know from the Market Law School poll how people feel about what happened in Minnesota and ICE. And 61% of the respondents said the shooting of Alex Preddy was not justified. That doesn't surprise me. I thought it would be higher.
I thought it'd be higher.
Yeah. Voters have turned against data centers since October. That's not surprising either because there's been a lot of talk about them, and certainly on this station, other talk shows, and certainly in the media. I think voters and residents of Wisconsin are saying, I like the idea of having more commerce for the state, but they're a little concerned about the cost of energy because all of us are getting bigger and bigger bills, and they're a little concerned with this massive use of open land. These aren't small things. They take up a lot of acres. You don't get that land is never going to be prairie or anything other than a big building for generations. So you better be sure about this, and I think that's what these numbers suggest. And of course, we talked a little bit in the open about sort of this undecided thing. And I point in the direction of people they're just sick and tired of politics.
So what made me think more so that they're sick and tired of politics is not I don't know who I'm voting for yet, whether it's the spring election or the August primary. It is more the unfavorables for. It was interesting. Maybe we could get Charles. Maybe I'll try to get him on when you're gone. But they did the favorables, unfavorables for the Republican Party, the MAGA movement, and the Democratic Party, which I think it's interesting of like including MAGA in there separately. I also think there's also a conversation of like how much light is there between the Republican Party and MAGA right now.
Yeah.
But they did all three, and none have positive favorables, right? They're all net negative. But the most net negative was still the Democratic Party.
Yeah.
And I have to think that it's largely because there's a fair amount of people who will vote Democrat no matter what, who are also frustrated with the Democratic Party.
Mm-hmm.
But that to me points more to what you're saying is that people are sick of politics and they're sick of the system, that no one's feeling overwhelmingly positive about any of the options.
No, if
people are.
If you want to find good news for Dems, they still got some time to figure that out. Because unless I'm completely wrong, the liberal candidate is going to win the Supreme Court race. I think that's my take on it. Again, not scientific, just
just because there's not enough money or time.
It's not a game changer position or seat in the makeup of the Wisconsin Supreme Court. That's one of the reasons there's not a lot of money being spent by the conservative candidate. I think that's safe. I think there's generally a lot of discontent among voters on a lot of different issues. Economy, we've talked about it. Healthcare. We probably haven't spent enough time on healthcare in the last month or so. We sort of had all of the conversation at the end of the year, remember, about what are they doing with this? Because all of our premiums are going to go up. Where's that conversation gone? Has that happened? And if you're out there, and I was just reading, I'm looking at the text line, it blew up because you asked a question, so we got a lot of answers on that. We can do it in this segment and the next, because we love your feedback on the text line, 855-616-1620. If you have had a real impact on what you're paying for healthcare, I'd love to hear about that as well. I'd love to do a whole hour on that. The impact on the industry itself, the providers, the consumers, all of us, a governmental piece in the state of Wisconsin. What are we doing at the federal level? What is Congress doing to ease the burden of health care? I'm adamant about the fact that people should not be bankrupted by a terminal illness, which is inexcusable in this day and age, yet still happens all the time.
Do you think there's anyone out there that disagrees with that statement? It's like, well, no, you shouldn't get sick. And so that's just the way the way it is. And
other than morons, no.
Has anyone polled on that?
Because terminal illness, last time I checked, is not a partisan issue. It doesn't show favoritism toward one side or the other. I don't get it. Should have been fixed a long time ago. I've always thought that people should probably be they should have some skin in the game when it comes to paying for the health care. And there were, and if you're old enough like me, there were times when people got free health care. That was like the norm. Wasn't realistic. Was not realistic.
What do you mean by free health care? Like government provided health care?
No, your company provided free health care.
Like your company could afford to cover the whole premium.
Oh, you're good.
Yeah.
We got you.
I had that at one point.
Yeah. A lot of people did.
There was one of the startups that well-funded startups. We had that was the last time I had unbelievable health care.
Yeah.
It's also, I was making a lot more money then.
Yeah. I still hear from people, not many, that still have those situations. I would say those are dinosaur programs that will not, they can't fiscally remain that way long term. It's an interesting dilemma about healthcare because we have this massive boomer generation who are going to suck up a lot of the resources when it comes to healthcare and a lot of the, just the oxygen in the room. But there is a window after about 10 or 15 years where the population is going to plummet, and that group will not probably still be around or they'll be at the late stages of their life. And so the dynamics is going to change. It'll be interesting to see what that does to the cost of healthcare and demand as it shrinks, because it's going to shrink at some point. You just got to get through the next 15, 20 years. Seems like a short time, but it's not. It's a generation. That's an interesting part of this as well. Just like the pension, unrelated, but the pension scandal in Milwaukee, there was a window of about 20 years when it was going to completely suck. But once that window is done, it gets way better because they've fixed it, fixed the inconsistencies and abuses. So yeah, it's like we're in a holding pattern. I know I said a lot there. Love to hear from you. We got a lot of response on Kristin's questions, so we'll read some of those after the break. 620 WTMJ, point taken.
Are you hosting an event, launching something new, wanting to get the word out about your part of the state? Be a featured guest on the WTMJ Experience Wisconsin show. Share your story, promote your event or business, and connect with fans all across the state. I'm John Merkier. I'd love to interview you. We reach listeners from Milwaukee to Madison, Green Bay to La Crosse, everywhere in between. It's Experience Wisconsin. Ready to shine a spotlight on your business or company? Email me, john@WTMJ.com for more information. john@WTMJ.com.
Hey, it's WTMJ, Steve Scaffidi for Advent. You know I love talking about Advent because it changed my life. Can change yours as well if you're tossing and turning, if you're snoring and keeping your bed partner up at night. First of all, why would you do that? That's not very nice. And you're hurting yourself, too, because you're not getting the sleep and the rest and the refresh you need from your sleep. So if you're having these issues, go to Advent. I did this 6 years ago, and it changed my life. 30-minute visit. Talk to their docs. Great facilities. They answer all of your questions, simple or complex. They can figure out the root cause of your problem. They can add in a simple sleep study if that gives them more information, and most people it does. And after a short procedure, I've never looked back, breathing better than ever. And the cool part is when I go to bed, I fall asleep and I stay asleep and I don't snore. If you struggle like I used to, take the time to see how Advent can help you. To find out how breathing well and sleeping well can make your nights better, go to adventknows.com and schedule an appointment today, because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better.
Recently, a seller that unfortunately ended up choosing another agent called me. She said she made a mistake, and what she was expressing to me sounded like she kind of was bullied into signing with him. Is it typical? Not always, but it will never happen when you hire a Century 21 Benefit Realty agent. I want our agents to be able to look in the mirror and say, I'd want to work with me, not because they're good at saying what you want to hear or offer the lowest commission, but because of trust. Because if you're not feeling that from your agent, that's a problem, and I don't want that. At 1.9% on the listing side of your sale with our commission capped at $19,000, Century 21 Benefit Realty leads with a very fair and transparent commission structure with maximum marketing that can get your home sold fast and for the best price. And saving money matters, but working with someone who will tell you exactly what you need to know up front, that creates trust. And that matters too. This is Angela Calais with Century 21 Benefit Realty, benefit-realty.com, where you pay less for full service. Each office is independently owned and operated.
My part-time service in the Army National Guard makes it possible for me to be more for the community I call home. My training helps me at work when I lead by example. My service in the Army National Guard allows me to keep my community and those I care about safe from threats. Learn more about how you too can live and serve part-time close to home by visiting NationalGuard.com.
Sponsored by the Wisconsin Army National Guard, aired by the Wisconsin Broadcasters Association and this station.
All right, we got a lot of texts came in. Want to read some of these real quick because you asked a direct question to the audience.
I had a good one. Where was there one that I thought was interesting?
Yeah, when they come in fast and furious, it's hard to find them.
Here, from the 608, so from Dane County. Policy matters to an extent, parentheses, funding schools better, taxing the rich, but any Dem will have a lot of the same basic idea. It's, quote, how you will deal with Trump and GOP, and you will step up to do what it takes to take on the lie machine within November and get things changed once taking office. See, that's the thing that I think is really interesting. Because I think there's going to be the people who vote for August. Do you want someone who is a quote unquote fighter and is, very anti-Trump and his policy, very anti some of the policies that have been in place for the majority Republican legislature for the last 16 years? Or is it someone who can compromise? Is it someone who we say all the time, like, we want more bipartisanship, we want more compromise, we want to lower the temperature. And so I do think that there is candidates who are trying to position themselves as someone who can work across the aisle and some less so. And I think it's interesting because what a general election would be, I think, is different than the primary. And so in a primary, is it people who want a fighter or they want someone who is saying, I can work in a purple state with the other side?
Yeah, another quick one. Policy and how they distance themselves from the radical parts of their respective parties that constantly command negative attention. I completely agree with that. All right, we have our friend Kristin Morgan from City Forward Collective coming up after the break. Important research they've done on education in our part of the state. We'll get to that. We got a lot more on the program today, including Jeremy Janine from UrbanMilwaukee.com. He'll join us in the 11th.
A long list of topics from today.
Yeah. And remember, we had a long conversation last week about So the dysfunction in Milwaukee. So we'll get to all of that. We have a news update from Neil Doyle coming up, all things local here in Milwaukee and beyond, and then we have ABC.
ABC News, I'm Sherry Preston. Members of the House Oversight Committee are in Chappaqua, New York this week, interviewing Bill and Hillary Clinton about the Epstein files. Committee Chair James Comer insisting this is not a partisan investigation.
The Democrats voted to subpoena the Clintons. The Democrats voted with the Republicans to hold the Clintons in contempt. So the Democrats have just as many questions for the Clintons as the Republicans. So this isn't a partisan witch hunt.
And Democratic Congressman Robert Garcia adding,
now that we're going to hear from former President Clinton, I hope that Chairman Comer and the Republicans will join us in demanding that the person who actually appears more times in the files than the former president, who we want to speak with, is President Donald Trump.
Iran and the U.S. holding more talks in Geneva about Iran's nuclear ambitions. Investigations underway after Cuba says 10 people on a speedboat registered to Florida opened fire on a Cuban border patrol boat. 4 of those on the U.S. boat killed. This is ABC News.
Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 10:31. I'm Neil Doyle. A suspect is in custody for a deadly battery in West Milwaukee. 66-year-old Cheryl Jenkins died from a head injury. It happened near 44th and Mitchell earlier this week. The medical examiner says a family member hit her multiple times with a baseball bat. Police say a 38-year-old man is in custody. A traffic stop leads to a drug bust in St. Francis. It happened early Wednesday. Officers found nearly a pound of marijuana, a digital scale, and baggies during a vehicle search. Police say the passenger admitted to being a drug dealer. He was taken into custody. A second passenger was also arrested for an outstanding warrant. The University of Wisconsin-Stevens Point has a new chancellor. Robert Brinkman, will serve as the school's 16th leader. Brinkman currently serves as the Dean of College of Liberal Arts and Sciences at Northern Illinois University. He succeeds Thomas Gibson, who was hired as chancellor of UW-Milwaukee last year. Brinkman will start at UW-Stevens Point on July 1st. Time for news about your money and the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. The Dow is in the green currently, up about 20 points at 49,500. The NASDAQ in the red, down 282 points at 22,870. And the S&P 500 is off about 41 at 6,904. Financial planning at every level. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Details at annexwealth.com. Take a look at the roads, your WTMJ time saver traffic. No major issues, but one thing just to be aware of, 41 southbound. This is right near Watertown Plank Road in the eastbound lanes there. Part of the left lane block, they're doing a few repairs. We've got a few other disabled vehicles across the system, but none of them really in traffic, so full speeds otherwise. We'll see cloudy conditions as we move throughout the rest of today. A high getting up around 41 degrees. Tonight, then, partly cloudy, a low down to 31. Tomorrow will be mostly sunny, a bit breezy, but much warmer tomorrow. We'll see a high near 58 degrees. And then into the weekend, we cool down again. Cloudy skies on Saturday. We could see some light snow, maybe some minor accumulations with a high near 32. Right now, it's 27 degrees in Sheboygan. We're sitting at 30 degrees in Brookfield, and it's 30 degrees in Milwaukee. I'm Neil Doyle, Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 1034.
A buck doesn't buy much unless you're spending it at Griffin. For just $1 over cost, you can buy brand new tires from us. This is Jim Griffin. Any major brand, $1 over our cost with free tire repair and lifetime rotation. We'll even show you the invoice to prove it. Our only requirements, we put them on for you. Buy one or the whole set. The dollar deal from Griffin. Milwaukee and Waukesha. Griffin. The buck stops here, but the deals on tires don't. That's Griffin.
Not combinable with other tire offers.
Hey, John Mercure here for Mend Studios. You deserve to feel better. You deserve to feel healthy. You deserve to feel great about yourself. Mend Studios has a long-term wellness as the goal. That's how they're going to do it. That's how they're going to take care of you. I know and trust the therapists at Mend Studio. They customize every single treatment, and they've got multiple locations. They're in Mequon and Brookfield, both convenient, both easy to get to. Start at the website, mendstudio.com. I never feel better than I do after a session at Mend. Mendstudio.com.
Save big money on everything for your next bathroom project now at Menards. Upgrade your bathroom with Max. With more than 1,000 showers, bathtubs, and surrounds, you're sure to find exactly what you need to add luxury and style to your bathroom. Save big on our entire selection of Max bathroom products. Plus, check out our weekly flyer on Menards.com for all the great deals happening now.
Save big money at Menards.
Amazon Business empowers leaders with smart business buying tools, leaving time to focus on strategy and growth. Free up your teams and focus on your future at AmazonBusiness.com.
With Pella, you get so much more than stunning windows and doors. You get the Pella experience. Pella manufactures, sells, installs, and services every product. And with a 10-year labor warranty, your windows and doors are worry-free for years to come. If something goes wrong, we're here to handle it because you work with the same team from start to finish.
Right now, get 0% interest for up to 48 months.
Visit PellaWI.com today.
It's time for some forward thinking on Point Taken. Brought to you by City Forward Collective, focusing on education in Milwaukee.
Always enjoy our conversations with Kristin Morgan, Executive Director, City Forward Collective, and they just released a major brief on the educational questions crisis, the C word, this morning. Shocking, 22 of Wisconsin's 50 lowest performing schools on Milwaukee's north side. Milwaukee schools only serve 10% of the children, but 57% of the state's black students. Only 18% of the north side students attend high-quality schools, according to your study. And so I guess we want you to sort of break this down for it. First of all, welcome.
Always good to see you. Yeah, thanks.
Walk us through some of this stuff, because data, in my world, data doesn't lie. This is real data, and the numbers are concerning.
They are absolutely concerning. And, in some respects, this is not a new story, but it is still a story we need to be talking about. There are 55,000 students just about that are educated in what we've defined as the north side of Milwaukee, broadly west of the river, north of I-94. Of those 55,000 students, as you said, just 18% are in schools that meet our high-quality benchmark. Even if you use the lower standard that DPI sets, we're still talking about a majority of those students that are in schools that are 1 and 2 star, below the state's official expectation. Going back to our ratings, you get to the high schools, it's 14%. Those are 3 schools, and none of those 3 schools actually serve a majority black student population. So even amongst that 14%, most of those students are, students who are coming from elsewhere in the city that just happen to be on campuses on the north side of Milwaukee. None of this is new. As Dr. Fuller, one of the people who we shared this report with earlier, said, it's devastating. And the reality is, it is a challenge and a crisis for us in Milwaukee, but it is also a crisis across our state.
How do we get people to understand this is not a Milwaukee, it's not just Milwaukee, it's a Wisconsin problem when we're talking about this?
We have spent a lot of time talking about Wisconsin's worst in the nation black-white test score gap, right? The fact that black students in Wisconsin are performing worse than their peers in any other state. Pick Mississippi, pick Louisiana, you choose, wherever you want to talk about. This is the epicenter of that. As you said, 57%, an outright majority of Wisconsin's black students are included in the area that we just described in our study. And so when we want to talk about closing the gap, about addressing some of these generationally challenging headlines for our state, we have to start that work on the north side of Milwaukee.
Have you got, with this brief, did you at all look at the overlap of poverty in the state? Because I have to imagine there's a fair amount of overlap of, in that region is also some of our poorest neighborhoods.
Absolutely, right? These are compounding disadvantages. I would say, when we talk about some of these state level comparisons, poverty in Mississippi, poverty in Alabama, poverty in some of these southern states, it absolutely matters. I don't want to run past that. And there is still something going on the north side of Milwaukee, even accounting for poverty, that is different. And I think it has to do with, we've looked at this problem. We've talked about this problem. I think we talk around this problem. And I think far too often our leaders at this point just refuse to talk about this problem.
When you say our leaders, you mean municipal, county, state? Who are you? Who are you pointing the finger at?
Yes. I mean all of them, right? There is no one simple solution that we've laid out here. We have offered some, steps that we think can be taken. But I think, the question that we have asked, and I think it's to be asked of every one of our leaders, and frankly of all of us too, right, is What are we going to concretely do? Not platitudes, not this is bad, not more money without a plan for how we're going to use that money. How are we going to ensure that the 55,000 students, the vast majority of them who are Black, who grew up on Milwaukee, who are growing up today in Milwaukee's North Side, are going to get a better set of educational outcomes, a better opportunity, a better chance at success than what's true for them today?
We have talked about the enrollment drop in MPS before on previous visits. Enrollment drops from 60 to under 55,000. MPS lost 4,000 students, but the charter and the private schools have sort of held their own.
Yeah.
So all of this is about parents trusting, parents having confidence. So how do we speak to that? They clearly don't have confidence in the system.
And look, there's two conversations here, and they're both important. We have talked a lot about Milwaukee Public Schools. There's a specific challenge here. You mentioned 22 of the 50 lowest performing schools in the state are on Milwaukee's North Side. 17 of those are MPS district operated schools. We've laid out in prior conversations why economically and just from an enrollment standpoint, there's an imperative for the district to get itself straight. There's an academic imperative too, and I think this report speaks directly to that. And I know we're having those conversations in real time. The budget hearings have started. We need to have that conversation for the challenges it's creating for families' pocketbooks, but we also need to have that conversation for what's happening for kids' academic future. The second part that I would say is this is a citywide challenge, just like the conversation we're having about reading. There are 22 schools, 17 of them are MPS schools. That means 5 of them are not, right? And wherever we are finding schools that are persisting and not serving students well, something needs to be done. And I think far too often we get in this, yes, MPS needs to right the ship. And when we are talking about the challenges faced by our students on the north side of Milwaukee or across our city more broadly, we also need to be clear-eyed about the fact that every kid deserves a high-quality education. And wherever that's not happening, we need to do something about it.
Kristin Morgan, our guest, Executive Director, City Forward Collective, local nonprofit ensuring that Milwaukee has great schools for every Milwaukee family. We're going to talk about some of the things that go into this story as well, facilities and a budget process just broke.
Oh, boy.
And the number 46 million sticks out in my head as we approach that conversation. Second half of our conversation with Kristin Morgan after this on Point Taken, 620 WTMJ.
Save on the best quality furniture and mattresses during the President's Day sale at Ken Michaels Furniture. With major discounts from our premier suppliers, you will save big bucks on top brands like Bradenton Young, made in the foothills of the Great Smoky Mountains. Bradenton Young is known for its fine quality leather upholstery. Yours brings you modern Scandinavian design recliners and sofas, ergonomically engineered for more hip and back support. Norwalk, with American roots that go back over 100 years, specializes in making furniture just for you. Choose the piece, style, fabric, or leather you want, and in just 35 days, we'll deliver your new sofa, chair, or sectional. In-stock or special orders are all sale priced. Need a little help putting it all together? At Ken Michaels Furniture, our design staff is ready to help you with your purchases. And it's free. Stop in today and save now during the President's Day sale at Ken Michaels Furniture in Brookfield, Greenfield, or downtown Milwaukee.
Hey, Wisconsin anglers. This Saturday, head to MW Marine for a free fishing seminar. No reservation needed. Meet Warren Zarin from the Mercury Lund Pro Team and learn West Coast bass techniques that flat out work in Wisconsin. Pick up tips you can use right away. And while you're there, check out the boats and get ready for your best season yet. This Saturday at MW Marine. Free, fun, and you're invited.
Hey, this is Mike from Infinity Exteriors. Buying a roof, siding, or windows can feel overwhelming. Hidden costs, confusing contracts. We don't play that game. We educate you so you can decide. And when you know the facts, Infinity Exteriors is the clear choice. Since 1997, we've installed peace of mind with no surprise upcharges, flexible budgets, and immediate financing. Infinity Exteriors, saving our communities from unscrupulous contractors. Visit infinityexteriors.com.
2026 Brewers tickets are on sale now. This year, it all kicks off at our house with opening day at home, followed up with a schedule that's absolutely loaded. Throw in the same flair for the dramatic thrills on any given night. Plus Brewers giveaways you won't forget. And you've got a season you're going to have to see to believe. Don't miss a second of Brewers action this year. The crew is back for more. All Brewers tickets for the 2026 season are on sale now at brewers.com.
130 years of trusted community banking. Greg Matzik here reminding you since 1896, Horicon Bank has been proud to stand beside their neighbors. And in 2026, Horicon Bank is celebrating this milestone with a full year of special events and monthly celebrations across all of their Wisconsin branches. All this week, join them at their new Berlin location on Cleveland Avenue for gift card giveaways and raffle prizes. Visit horiconbank.com or follow them on social media. Horicon Bank, together doing good for 130 years.
After a serious accident, you'll need a winning team to protect your rights. Trust Wisconsin's own Gruber Law Offices, proud partner of your Milwaukee Bucks. If you've been injured, call Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all.
Continuing our conversation with Kristin Morgan. He is the executive director of City Forward Collective, a local nonprofit making sure there's a great Milwaukee school for every Milwaukee family. Big report brief issued this morning on Northside education. So a couple pieces here, and I'll just let you kind of go with this, because half-empty buildings and a budget process that's $46 million beyond where they should be.
Yeah, right. You know, we've talked before about the Milwaukee Public Schools and this particular part of the challenge here. They are the majority server and certainly the majority operator of school buildings in this part of the city. So we can't get to solutions on a citywide basis without talking about this. You know, to the district's credit, they are having the hard conversations late, but now finally about how do we get this fiscal house in order. What has been a little bit challenging, however, is that there has been some attempt, I think, at the school board level to separate the conversation about the budget from the conversation about we need to reduce our facilities footprint. We're running too many schools. I mean, you know, their own numbers here. You've got, I think it was 26 or 27 schools that have less than 300 students each.
Do you think they understand the scope of that problem? Because you said it a bunch of times on previous visits.
I honestly don't know. I think especially at the school board level, right? I think we've heard a lot of candor. I've come in and said, you know, I think Superintendent Casalius, has been quite honest and forthright about the challenges that are facing the district academically. I think she's laid this out. You know, I don't think I've ever watched a video recording of a school board negotiating session before. Like, that's how transparent she's being about the budget process this year. You know, the hearings are going on this week and next week. I think it's really important for all of us to get involved, because you were asking before about how do we hold people accountable. This is an opportunity for all of us to hold accountable before bad decisions are made yet again.
This is kind of maybe off the beaten path a little bit, but like as far as the involvement of voters in the city, do you feel like there's enough passion on this issue, unless you have a kid who's in school? Like, do you find in the work that you've done as far as like the rallying cry of, we got to come together and fix this? Like, is that a missing piece of this? It's not just the leadership; it's also just like voter involvement.
Yes and no, right? We poll on this, and education shows up as a top 3 issue in the state and in the city, right? It's crime, it's affordability, cost of living, and housing costs, and then usually education's next. I think we're getting to the point where people are getting frustrated about, for whatever reason, is bringing them to the conversation. I think our structures make it really hard to have these conversations, right? School board elections they're not in November, right? We are all looking and talking about the governor's race and the state legislature control. 2 months after that, we're going to, literally, I think the next week qualifying starts for school board races. They're going to be elected in February. And if we don't do something different, last time around, people were winning seats with 700 votes. So, there are things we can do to make it easier for the voice and frustrations and realities of a broader set of our electorate to talk about. We find 70% support for moving those school board elections to the same time as the governor's races and other statewide offices. So that could be one small step. But yeah, we got to show up.
Your report highlights some problems, but I'm a big fan of action plans. I've said this before to you many times. What do you see as like 3 things we could sort of do to like change that narrative?
Great question. We laid some things out in the report, that we think are solid starting points. The first is this conversation we're having about MPS and right sizing. It absolutely has to be not just on the table. It's got to be the starting point, just given the number of schools and the level of performance. I think the second conversation we need to have as a city is one about how do we hold all schools accountable? What is the standard of care that we're going to expect for any kid in any school? It's not just a Northside question, right? This is a broader question across our city. When is enough? When is it not acceptable for a school to continue to serve students and not serve them well? And the third challenge that we laid out is a structural challenge, right? Right now, there are so many people who have pieces of the puzzle. So many times, and they're not necessarily wrong when they say this one isn't my fault, it's somebody else's fault. No one owns this entire issue. We need some clarity about who's going to step up and say, forget all the rules and whatever. I'm willing to take this on. I'm going to lead on this. And that's where I think that public collective accountability matters. This is a question we've got to keep asking until we get the answers from all of our leaders.
So as far as what any of us can do right now, is it just paying attention to this process? Is it calling? What do you, we just talk about the voters and not waiting until the next school board elections? What is their active call to action now?
MPS is going through its budget process right now. I think there's a budget hearing Saturday at Pulaski. I think they're at Riverside on Tuesday, and I think they've got a virtual session next week Thursday. I hope I got those dates right, but you can find it on the MPS website. Attend. We've got races for governor. We've got 6, 7. I can't keep track. Oh,
there's
boy.
technically 8.
Oh boy,
on the Democratic side, and then there's Tom Tiffany.
And I also just did the 6, 7 thing. Sorry, everyone.
Oh, that's over. Now that adults are saying it, kids are not saying it anymore. It's old news.
But we've got a rack of candidates that are seeking our vote in the governor's race. This is a question that we need to hold in front of them. What is their plan? What is their specific, concrete plan for addressing this? And then let's make decisions accordingly. We're all struggling to figure it out. We all saw the Marquette Law poll numbers yesterday. This is an issue that we can and should be using to help us determine who is going to get our vote.
Kristin Morgan, Executive Director, City Forward Collective, local nonprofit working to ensure there's a great school for every Milwaukee family, parent, kids. I love the wisdom you bring. I appreciate your visits every couple of weeks. And is there a way so people can reach out to you if they want to find out more?
Yeah, absolutely. I would tell people if you want to look at the report or find more about what we're doing, you can check our website, www.cityforwardcollective.org, or you can find us on most of the social platforms at CFC_MKE.
Great resource. Check it out, especially if you're concerned, as you all should be, about this issue in Milwaukee schools, especially on the north side. Kristin, I'll see you in about a month.
Yeah,
you'll be back in a couple weeks.
I'll see you in 2 weeks.
We'll see you in a couple weeks, at least one of you.
All right, we'll take a quick break on Point Taken. Steve and Kristin.
Our children deserve a real chance to make it in life, and a good education is a passport to opportunity. At City Forward Collective, we're working to make sure there's a great Milwaukee school for every Milwaukee family, because more good options lead to better outcomes. And who doesn't want that? Together, we can give every child the foundation they need to thrive, and a stronger future for kids means a stronger future for Milwaukee. To learn more about our mission, visit us at cityforwardcollective.org. That's cityforwardcollective.org.
This is former Wisconsin Attorney General J.B. Van Hollen with a message for my fellow conservatives about online sports betting. Online sports betting is fun. It protects kids against illegal gambling websites, and it generates billions in tax revenue. But today, Madison politicians are considering a secret deal that could give exclusive control of sports betting to one Indian tribe. One Indian tribe making the majority of all the revenue? Our Constitution requires a vote of the people on expanded sports betting, but Madison insiders want secrecy. What's worse, their plan could leave Governor Evers the sole power to negotiate with the tribes. Madison politicians want to bypass our state constitution, and it could mean less accountability with control concentrated with one Indian tribe. Tell Madison, no secret deal on online sports betting. Paid for by Sports Betting Alliance.
Recently, a seller that unfortunately ended up choosing another agent called me. She said she made a mistake, and what she was expressing to me sounded like she kind of was bullied into signing with him. Is it typical? Not always, but it will never happen when you hire a Century 21 Benefit Realty agent. I want our agents to be able to look in the mirror and say, I'd want to work with me. Not because they're good at saying what you want to hear or offer the lowest commission, but because of trust. Because if you're not feeling that from your agent, that's a problem, and I don't want that. At 1.9% on the listing side of your sale with our commission capped at $19,000, Century 21 Benefit Realty leads with a very fair and transparent commission structure with maximum marketing that can get your home sold fast and for the best price. And saving money matters, but working with someone who'll tell you exactly what you need to know up front, that creates trust. And that matters too. This is Angela Calais with Century 21 Benefit Realty, benefit-realty.com, where you pay less for full service. Each office is independently owned and operated.
Church and Chapel Funeral Homes. Dignified services with less expensive fees compared to other fine funeral homes. Church and Chapel Funeral Homes. There's one near you.
While you rest on the weekends, we work for you. Wisconsin's Weekend Morning News with Libby Collins. The latest in news.
They are refusing to identify him at this time because the investigation is still ongoing.
Entertainment.
You really are not eating for stretches at a time. You really are not showering. That's all real.
And more.
Indiana had a lot of ties to Chicago when it came to Prohibition, so this area became a perfect spot for the mafia.
Every Sunday morning starting at 8 on WTMJ. WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee. From the Annex Wealth Management Studios, this is News Radio WTMJ, a Good Karma brand station.
Hey, you want to win a chance for some really awesome Brewers tickets? Well, we're giving you an easy chance. All you got to do is subscribe to the newsletter. Text the word EXTRA, EXTRA, to 855-616-1620. You'll be sitting right behind home plate for the Cruise game against the American League champion Toronto Blue Jays. Tuesday, April 14th, we're going to give it away on our opening day broadcast. You and I will be live from American Family Field, or at least the mobile studio. We'll maybe even talk to the winner. We'll see. But you got to subscribe to do it, and the numbers have really spiked up. So thanks to all of you who have subscribed. It comes out every Sunday morning. It's a quick read. It's a fun read. We do some fun things. I had some fun with my recommendation this week, an HBO show that I've fallen in love with again 20 years after it first debuted. So do that now. We also want to mention your Bowling for Babies, which is a big event coming up.
Bowling for Babies. Come with us on March 7th. Hang with us. Bowl for a good cause. If you were listening yesterday, we had Megan Johnson from Milwaukee Diaper Mission on the show talking about what they do and the need that they serve, the need that even what they do, all the great work is still not enough for how many families need diapers in Milwaukee County. So what is it? Team of 4. Register at WTMJcares.com or text baby to 855-616-1620. We need a team of 4. It's $170 per team, so $42-ish per person.
And you get to hang out with all the folks from TMJ.
John McCure, Vince Vitrano, me, Ben Bruss, Jen Latta, Alex Strofe, Kyle Wallace, and you get to compete for 4-packer tickets.
Awesome. For
tailgating tickets to the Tundra Trio, which is a package that's like over $2,500. And then second place gets 4 tickets to WTMJ Day and the Brewers game that day. So if you don't win, you still get to play. But those are pretty good prizes. So.
Awesome prizes. So sign up.
Baby. 855-616-1620. Sign up before next Wednesday. This is not something you can walk in and register the day of. We need you to sign up now, not the day of.
And real quick, because I just released a new episode of Scaffidi. Great conversation live from across the street from Lambeau, audio and video with Corey Benke from Cheesehead TV. Awesome listen. His buddy Aaron Nagler gave me a shout out last night. Enjoyed the conversation. You can listen to, just text the word Steve. How easy is that? STEVE to 855-616-1620. Lots of stuff going on in our world.
All of it will also be in this weekend's newsletter.
Absolutely. So if you want to look at that, if you're already a subscriber, you've probably already seen it. All right, quick break. 620 WTMJ for news.
WTMJ's Eric Bilstead here for Tri-County Contracting. Have you ever thought to yourself, I want my house to look better than it does. I just don't know where to even start or even what to do. Tri-County Contracting can help you with that. They can help you love your home again. They have the design consultants, they've got the showroom, they've got real picture renderings, they've got it all to help turn your home back into your dream home. Tri-County Contracting, WDI.com. Love your home again with Tri-County Contracting.
The dance of sunlight on water.
Shimmering, sparkling, beautiful, hypnotic.
Houses that overlook a gorgeous body of water are the most highly desired houses in the world.
The Bellamare collection of fine jewelry features classic white diamonds, flanked and surrounded by rare and exotic blue diamonds.
Bellamare means beautiful water.
Bellamare, sunlight on water, glimmering and twinkling.
The dance is enticing.
The look is spectacular.
The impact is exciting.
Blue and white diamonds created in the heart of Mother Nature
will dance and sing on the body of a glittering, sparkling woman.
Bellamare. This blue and white beauty of sunlight on water
should be worn on the fingers,
the wrist,
the neck, and the ears
of the woman you love.
The Bellamare collection is available only at Kessler's.
We do diamonds better because diamonds are what we do.
For the location of the Kessler's nearest you, visit KesslersDiamonds.com.
Ever wonder what it takes to feel truly wealthy and financially comfortable? Schwab asked Americans that question, and most said at least $2 million. But here's the thing, your number might be different. And that makes sense because your dreams, travel, retirement, and the legacy you want to leave are unique to you. That's why you need advice that's just as personal. The team at Annex Wealth Management is ready to listen and help you build a plan that fits your life. Click the Get Started button at annexwealth.com.
When it's 40 degrees in your living room and you've started using the toaster as a hand warmer.
And the dog is wearing more layers than a lasagna.
And you're using a blowtorch to defrost your Cheerios.
And you're considering burning the coffee table for warmth.
Then it's officially time to call Capital. We offer same-day heating repair service 7 days a week.
And for a limited time, all our heating service calls are free when we make the repair.
Just call Capital. We'll banish the brrr.
Call CapitalCares.com.
This summer, don't just work, log off, and become the guy behind the adventure. More laughs, less scrolling. Do summer different at Peak Initiative. We're hiring camp counselors, leaders, swim instructors, and more for our day camp in Milwaukee and over camp in Boscobel, Wisconsin. Earn $650 a week starting pay, plus housing and meals at Lake Valley Camp. Make memories, make an impact. Make this summer count. Apply today at peakinitiative.org/join our team. The Peak Initiative. Do summer different.
Trusted, relevant, locally owned, locally programmed. We are Wisconsin's radio station. News Radio 620, WTMJ Milwaukee.
Just after 11 o'clock, it's 32 degrees, cloudy skies as we move through the day with a high getting up around 41. From the WTMJ Breaking News Center, I'm Neil Doyle. House Oversight Committee Chairman James Comer says he expects today's deposition of Hillary Clinton to be an all-day affair. It's part of the committee's investigation into convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein.
It is a bipartisan investigation. The American people have a lot of questions. To my knowledge, the Clintons haven't answered very many, if any, questions about their knowledge or involvement with Epstein and Maxwell. Again, no one's accusing at this moment the Clintons of any wrongdoing.
Former President Bill Clinton will testify before the committee tomorrow. Talks resuming in Geneva between the U.S. and Iran, the two sides discussing Iran's nuclear program and what steps that country would take to ensure that it won't develop a nuclear weapon. ABC's Ian Pennell says restarting the talks is a positive step, but no specific breakthroughs have been mentioned.
We're not really getting the details of exactly what it is that the Iranians are willing to do. We know that they've got this stockpile of highly enriched uranium, about 1,000 pounds or so of it. Are they willing to hand that over? There have been mixed messages on that. Are they willing to dismantle what is left of their nuclear program, something that the president claimed had been obliterated, but I think we can agree probably wasn't entirely obliterated.
While both sides are talking up diplomacy, the U.S. continuing to beef up its military presence in the Middle East. Sylvia Ortiz-Velez, a state representative from Milwaukee, has now been charged with disorderly conduct after an alleged confrontation with another Democratic member of the state assembly.
Police allege Ortiz-Velez made indecent comments after another legislator did not include her in the drafting of a resolution honoring Latino veterans. According to Capitol Police, Ortiz-Velez said, quote, "I'm going to contact the press and tell them the other legislator is engaging in inappropriate personal actions. Prosecutors say this is beyond political rhetoric." In September, Ortiz-Velez allegedly made a comment about shooting 3 members of the assembly she's had personal disagreements with. My calls to her office went unreturned. John Mercure, WTMJ News.
And Wisconsin joining a multi-state lawsuit against the White House over its rollback of vaccine recommendations for children.
The lawsuit argues that the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention is putting children's lives at risk by ending recommendations that all children get vaccinated against the flu, RSV, hepatitis, and other diseases. It says the updates to the vaccine schedule were made illegally because CDC leadership bypassed the Vaccine Advisory Committee and there were no changes to science to prompt it. The lawsuit also says that Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. violated procedure when he fired and replaced the entire committee. Jessica Gatso, WTMJ News.
Time for news about your money and the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. Everything in the red. The Dow is off nearly 180 points at 49,300. The NASDAQ down over 1.5% at 22,779. And the S&P 500 in the red as well, off about 66 points at 6,879. Financial planning at every level. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Details at annexwealth.com. Sports, traffic, and weather are next. Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 11:05.
Hey, John Mercure here for Mend Studios. You deserve to feel better. You deserve to feel healthy. You deserve to feel great about yourself. Mend Studios has a long-term wellness as the goal. That's how they're going to do it. That's how they're going to take care of you. I know and trust the therapists at Mend Studio. They customize every single treatment, and they've got multiple locations. They're in Mequon and Brookfield, both convenient, both easy to get to. Start at the website, mendstudio.com. I never feel better than I do after a session at Mend. Mendstudio.com.
Your European experts at Fox World Travel are ramping up and busy as ever. When you want to see more of Europe, Princess Cruises delivers. With Princess Cruises and Fox World Travel, explore iconic Mediterranean ports by day, then relax in classic comfort by night. From immersive shore excursions to destination-inspired dining, every moment is designed to feel effortless. Ready to set sail on your Mediterranean adventure? Call 866-GO-FOX-GO or visit foxworldtravel.com to book your European getaway.
America is kept safe because the Army National Guard responds, protects, and supports our nation when it needs them most. The Army National Guard responds to disasters such as wildfires and floods. They protect us with missile defense, cybersecurity, and civilian support teams for chemical, biological, and radiological hazards. Be there for your community and your country. Visit NationalGuard.com to learn more about part-time service. Sponsored by the Wisconsin Army National Guard. Aired by the Wisconsin Broadcasters Association and this station.
WTMJ's Vince Vitrano for Inspired Closets. Something that can positively affect your mood, getting organized and clearing out the clutter. A well-rounded closet could be the most powerful room in your home. Inspired Closets can transform your closets or laundry room, your pantry, any space in your house. What separates Inspired Closets from the others? Their 3D design software and a culture that promises to build what you want and need. Call my friends Katie and Dan today, a wife-husband team ready to help. Inspired days start in Inspired Closets. InspiredClosetsMilwaukee.com.
Time for a WTMJ sports update from the Gruber Law offices. One call, that's all sports desk. Bucks will continue their homestand this week. They're back in action tomorrow night, but coming off a reverse buzzer beater, Kevin Porter Jr. hitting the game-winning shot eventually for the Milwaukee Bucks. They held on to beat the Cleveland Cavaliers 118-116. Bucks back at home tomorrow night against the New York Knicks. Spring training, Brewers taking on the Rangers this afternoon in Arizona. Our next spring training broadcast, that will be tomorrow afternoon when the Crew play the White Sox. Let's take a look at the roads. Your WTMJ Time Saver traffic. Still 41 southbound. This is near Watertown Plank Road. They're doing a couple of repairs there in part of the left lane eastbound. So just something to be aware of. We do have some other disabled vehicles across the system, but really none of them in traffic causing any issues. So everything else moving along nicely. Cloudy conditions will continue into the afternoon. We'll see a high up around 41 degrees. Tonight then, partly cloudy, a low down to 31. Sunny, breezy, mild conditions tomorrow. A big warm up for us. We'll see a high near 58. But then we cool down into the weekend. Saturday will be cloudy. We could see some light snow, maybe some minor accumulation with a high near 32. Right now, it's 30 degrees in Waukesha. We're sitting at 31 in Madison, and it's 32 degrees in Milwaukee. I'm Neil Doyle, Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 11:08.
11 o'clock on a Thursday means it's time for a full hour of city stories with Urban Milwaukee President Jeremy Janine on Point Taken.
Hello, Jeremy.
Hello, hello.
How you doing today?
I'm good.
You sent us quite the list of Milwaukee happenings. There's things that are opening, new venues. There's more fights happening. Where do we want to start with like the most dramatic?
No, let's start with your favorite, HPV.
Oh, okay.
Why is that her favorite?
Because it's funny. I think it's funny. Maybe I just have.
It's a good bit.
We'll it is a good bit.
I think Steve's
juvenile sense of
she's
humor.
a chronic illegal parker. That's why she thinks it's funny.
I did get a parking ticket finally in that spot.
Well deserved,
and I paid
probably.
it immediately. And I paid it immediately.
All right.
And I am now paying for that spot.
So as we talked about last year, the HPV, which is not the disease, but habitual parking violators in city government language, are people with 5 or more unpaid parking tickets. So, Kristin, you're still 5 tickets away from being on the list.
Something to aspire to.
In November, letters went out to almost 29,000 people that were on this list. And the thought was there was a policy change that came with it, that previously you could be towed if you were an HPVer and you were found parked illegally. The change was we're going to tow you whenever we find you parked publicly. So if you're parked in your driveway, you're safe. But if you're parked on a city street and you have 5 or more unpaid tickets, starting around January 1st, you're going to get towed. So we have actually now our first data on how many people have paid up in advance of being towed, how many people have been towed, and then what they're doing once they actually get towed because they have a choice. And as I'm pulling up my numbers, we have some good data that shows high compliance even before the policy went into effect. In total, 986 people have come off the list as of January 29th. So we're almost a month behind now getting the data, and I suspect that number
Do you see the actual names?
I did do an open records request for who was on this list.
I'd just be curious.
And I looked through the top 10% of violators, and there weren't a lot of recognizable names.
But there were some.
No, I don't remember a single name.
All right.
So
I'm just curious.
So like John Rikier, he's safe.
Way to name drop. I love that. That's a good one to pick, too.
Eric Bilstead, meh.
But Vince, okay. Anyway, so yeah, no recognizable names. But together, these 986 people that have now been removed from this list have paid $219,000 and settled 3,700 some citations. Now, you can get off the list 2 different ways. You can enter into a payment plan for $20 a month, as little as $20 a month, or you can pay the balance in full. The average person that pays the balance in full, it's something like $450. 254 of the 986 people have gone into payment plans, and that covers an additional $69,000 in debt that's slated to be retired. And then you have who's actually getting towed now. So almost all those 986 were voluntary people. 304 vehicles as of January 29th had been towed. What's interesting here is 122 paid their citations outright. 110 scheduled court dates, which said they wanted to contest it, and it's possible a judge could, you pay it, but we'll cut the amount in half, or you can do community service then instead. But if you'll note, 122 plus 110 doesn't add up to 300, and that's because a fair number of people that got towed haven't got their cars back as of January 29th.
Just let them sit there. Huh?
So that'll be a trend to watch if all of a sudden the city ends up owning a bunch of vehicles because the people are just walking away from their vehicle at that point.
Or can't afford to get them out, right?
Yes, because under any scenario, even if you're going to contest in court, you do have to pay the $150 tow fee and $25 a day in storage.
Jeez.
So it gets expensive. Pay your parking tickets. If you can't pay them in full, enter into a payment plan. You can do that as simply as by calling the parking office.
So net positive, we're getting some money back.
We're getting some money back. I have a figure. I'm going to pull it up at the end of the article. Peter Knox, parking services manager, off the top of his head, he was with the caveat. He said there's about $42 million in unpaid parking debt the city has.
$42 million.
It believes only $25 million of that is really collectible.
Because it's the people who don't live in the city and
or dead. That's part of it.
Death is a huge issue.
Yeah.
If somehow the plate is no longer in use and it's not tied to a person that can be tracked down, so some like weird rental car situation or something.
All right, let me do it again. $25 million, still a lot of money.
It is a lot of money.
So it's a huge amount of money, but $200,000 that the city probably wasn't going to get otherwise is a big chunk off that.
That's a great story. And thanks for the heavy lift. And there's a lot of detail in there, but that's a lot of money. I'm trying to raise my voice.
But, I mean, kudos as far as starting to figure out a plan to recoup some of it.
All right, you're going to love this as we go to breaks. We're going to take a break, and we got a lot of stuff to talk about. Texter 715. I was in Milwaukee last Friday, made sure to stop at Urban Milwaukee's store. Got a bunch of tchotchkes. Love the use of tchotchkes for my out-of-state friends.
Spell it right, too.
Yeah. Thanks for the great gifts, Jeremy.
That's an excellent texter.
Isn't it? Texter of the day, perhaps.
I want to know, what did you buy? I want to know, follow-up question.
Yeah, what'd you buy?
Texter, what did you buy at the great tchotchke store?
What was so cool? So tchotchkes, what was the best
it an
tchotchke?
utter shot glass?
Which is the most popular item, you said, right?
It's my favorite item. I don't know if it's the most popular, but we have many hot items.
All right, he's Jeremy Janine. UrbanMilwaukee.com is where you can find her great work, some of the best reporting on all things Milwaukee. And as I look at my list, we got a lot of things to talk about. We'll continue that conversation right here on 620 WTMJ.
Save on the best quality furniture and mattresses during the President's Day sale at Ken Michaels Furniture. With major discounts from our premier suppliers, you will save big bucks on top brands like Bradenton Young, made in the foothills of the Great Smoky Mountains. Bradenton Young is known for its fine quality leather upholstery. Fjords brings you modern Scandinavian design recliners and sofas, ergonomically engineered for more hip and back support. Norwalk, with American roots that go back over 100 years, specializes in making furniture just for you. Choose the piece, style, fabric, or leather you want, and in just 35 days, we'll deliver your new sofa, chair, or sectional. In-stock or special orders are all sale priced. Need a little help putting it all together? At Ken Michaels Furniture, our design staff is ready to help you with your purchases, and it's free. Stop in today and save now during the President's Day sale at Ken Michaels Furniture in Brookfield, Greenfield, or downtown Milwaukee.
You've seen us around town, volunteering, supporting events, and showing up where it matters. At Waterstone Bank, we're more than a bank. We're your neighbor. The money you deposit stays local, helping small businesses, creating jobs, and supporting home ownership. It's banking from the community for the community. Visit your local branch or WSBOnline.com to see how we're building a stronger southeastern Wisconsin, one neighbor at a time. Waterstone Bank, member FDIC.
Be our eyes on the road. See something out there that I should know about?
Yeah, Debbie, this is Dan. South of K, there's a car fire in the southbound lane, closing off 3 lanes.
Call me, Debbie Lazaga, on the WTMJ traffic tip line, 414-238-9329.
Hey, Debbie, just calling in. There's 2 separate accidents, 94 westbound.
The drive affects you. Why not be part of it?
There was an accident. There's already 4 cops there and an ambulance.
Give me a call, 414-238-9329.
Jeremy Janine joining us, urbanmilwaukee.com, and that great tchotchke store. We're still, here we go. Here's what the texter bought.
All right.
Ope keychains.
Excellent.
Magnets, pens, as well as the UFTA license plate magnet.
Nice.
Yeah, all great choices.
Those are good choices.
I want to talk to a linguist of where UFTA came from.
I don't know. It's a good question, though. Somebody will know on the text line because we have a lot of wisdom out there. All right. Whenever the term lie gets thrown around, liar, lying, we saw it at the State of the Union, a little bit of that. This one involves Gary Witz, Marty Brooks, and this convention center partner, right?
Yes. Gary Witt is the convention center partner in this case.
That's right.
Pabst Theater Group that Gary Witt runs, they book the shows. They're the exclusive booker at the Miller High Life Theater. Now, as we've talked about recently, this new $145,000 study from Hunden Partners, commissioned by the Wisconsin Center District, it doesn't explicitly say tear down Miller High Life Theater, as Hunden has gone to great lengths to say that's not what it says. But it has a rendering that shows the Miller High Life Theater replaced, and it has a scoring rubric that shows the Miller High Life Theater as the most likely best site to put a new play. So, yes, it doesn't say demolish it, but it certainly indicates that would be the logical way to go. Now, what's interesting is Gary Witt has been very against this for rational business reasons in his case. He's also a big historic theater guy, operates the Pabst Theater, Turner Hall, Riverside Theater, Milwaukee Auditorium. Now the Miller High Life Theater fits in that repertoire well. He says that back in late May, right before Marty Brooks, the CEO of the Wisconsin Center District, announced to the board that Marty sent him and his business partner, Gary's business partner, Matt Berenger, an email, and he said, and Gary tells me this, Marty had a plan of what he wanted prior to the study starting, and he gave Hunden their marching orders to produce what he asked for. And this is Gary now summarizing a phone call, and this is Gary telling me this via email. He told us the study being announced the following day, and he told us not to worry. No matter what we heard that came from the meeting or in the media, that High Life was safe and that he was working so that the Panther Arena would be taken down to either build a hotel because the Wisconsin Center District had the room to take on the debt as the city would never subsidize it, or it would be taken down as it was antiquated and extremely unprofitable and outdated, and they needed a throughway to the Fiserv Forum. Now, what we know happened from May forward was that there was a huge outcry of support for Panther Arena.
Mm-hmm.
The 2 anchor tenants, Milwaukee Admirals, came forward. UW Milwaukee came forward and said, don't tear it down. Alderman Robert Bauman came forward and got it historically designated. So the Hunden Partners report says, hey, this building you have, this arena, is a great asset, but this challenge venue next door, this High Life Theater, again, they didn't say it needs to be demolished, but it certainly looks that way in the report. And that has sent Gary Witt off. Gary Witt last week at a meeting distributed a binder, the biggest binder I've ever seen.
Really?
1,100 pages.
What?
Printed out emails of people talking about saving the High Life Theater. for a guy that runs a theater company, Good Theatrics there, it is huge. He had them delivered to media partners all around town.
1,100, man, that's like unheard of.
Yes, yeah. As a sports car guy, you know what a binder
Yeah,
is.
yeah.
This is much bigger.
Wow.
So
I'd love to see one of those, actually.
But what's interesting here is that Robert Bauman has made the insinuation that Marty Brooks had his thumb on the scale all along. Gary Witt is coming out and explicitly saying that this was all premeditated to demolish the Panther Arena.
So who's the victim here?
Well, in Gary's case, it'd be Gary's business. But
Well, there is no victim because there's nothing that's actually happened yet.
That is also true.
This is
Who
all
could be the
plans and positioning to try to get what each party wants, right?
So Panther Arena, High Life Theater. I think the High Life Theater would be my choice if I just had to pick one to go.
Well, the argument from Gary Witt and Robert Bauman is if you cast your eyes a little bit wider, Steve, you will find parking lots right there, and you could build it there. But yes, this is now a tough choice before the Wisconsin Center District because you have this study that says you need a convention hotel, very clear on that. But you have the 2 hotel members on the board saying, no, the market can't support it. You have all kinds of questions about financing. And now you have more uncertainty about what actually happened behind the scenes to set up this study.
Gary was on Wisconsin's Afternoon News yesterday. Actually, both of them were on Wisconsin's Afternoon yesterday. And one of the points that I guess I didn't realize, and I don't know how salient it is, but when is Marty Brooks' contract up?
Within 2 years. And his contract is never that long, so it gets renewed quick.
So is it expected that it would get renewed? And so I'm asking because if he's pushing for this project, that people have mixed feelings on whether or not, like, how good it would be for Milwaukee of having a convention hotel, but then he is not here to see the finish of that hotel. Is that a consideration as far as like this thing that he wants that he may not be here to be accountable for if it doesn't go well?
Maybe that could also just be a red herring because the convention
that's what I'm
center,
asking.
the WCD CEO is never going to have a contract that's long.
Right.
And it's often going to be someone near the end of their career because they've reached the pinnacle of their field, basically.
Development projects are not about individuals; they're about communities, and that's the long-term play.
Yes.
Yeah.
Got it.
Man, another break already. Jeremy Jeanine, UrbanWalking.com. Lots to talk about. We've barely touched the list. What do we got? We got 2 done so far.
12 to go.
Well, you're going to have to pick up the pace there, buddy. More after this extra point.
Keeping you updated on culture and creativity. What's on Tap with Sandy Max.
When music is that much of a part of your life, it's part of you.
I can do digital, but I really prefer film. It's the equivalent of vinyl versus CD.
I sort of put together my theater writing hat and my songwriting hat and made one big hat.
This is a mega musical with a capital M.
Weeknights at 6 on WTMJ and the What's on Tap podcast on WTMJ.com.
Hey, WTMJ, Steve Scaffidi for QC Kinetics. Love talking about it because I actually went to QC Kinetics as a customer last summer into the fall. 5 treatments for my elbow pain, which they fixed using my body's own healing powers, regenerative treatment. Dr. Ashley Caravelli and a great team. First of all, great medical professionals, but great communicators. They tell you what you need to know about the process, how you can heal yourself. You don't need surgery, don't need meds. Didn't have to do either one of those things. So whether it's, and these are all real stories, Mike training for a marathon, Kathy walking around Disney with her grandkids, Alan's back to work climbing ladders, all real patients like me. The sooner you start the treatment, the sooner the inflammation goes away and the sooner joint damage slows down. That's a big thing, especially as you get older, because no one wants to feel older faster. Find out if you're a candidate for QC Kinetics. They're great, awesome, outstanding regenerative treatments. The consultation's free. Here's what you got to do. Make an appointment. 414-667-5559. That's 414-667-5559, QC Kinetics.
So if you're looking to install a new glass shower door, you're going to want to see selection. The more you see, the better choice you can make. And that's why our store is loaded with 20 different glass shower door options. And what sets Less's Glass apart is that you're going to have somebody close by for help who's been here for years and years to ask them questions and get reliable answers. Now, no one's going to be hounding you, but when you need an answer, you're not going to have to search around. One thing you can count on at Less's Glass is that there will always be a member of our staff here with decades of experience. And that matters, because how many times have you been at the big box home improvement store, walking around trying to find someone who can actually answer your questions? This is Stacy Sinks. If it's a new glass shower door, fogged or broken insulated glass replacement, or affordable glass and mirror home decor that you've been looking for, you just can't pass on Less's Glass. Les' Glass Service, serving all of southeastern Wisconsin. Find us at lesglassservice.com.
Gene Miller here for my friends at Hometown Windows and Doors. As the days get longer and Wisconsin weather shifts, it's a good time to check your home's comfort. If your house felt drafty this winter, it may be time for an upgrade. Hometown offers energy-efficient windows and doors from Bella, Marvin, Anderson, and more. All on display in their New Berlin showroom, all installed by Hometown employee carpenters. Wood, vinyl, or Fibrex, they have options for every budget. Call my friends today at Hometown Windows and Doors. That's Hometown with an E for your every window and door need.
All right, welcome back to Point Taken. I'm Kristin, he's Steve. Jeremy Janine is here talking all things Milwaukee, and there is a new concert venue. And did you get to go see it last night?
I saw it yesterday morning, actually, in a little media tour.
Beautiful.
Did you get an 1,100-page binder when you went to the media?
I got no binders at this. I did get a free hat, I think was the giveaway.
Nice.
But the $70 million right across from Fiserv Forum, it's subjectively terribly named Landmark Credit Union Live venue, because that is just really difficult to say. And it is Live Nation, FPC Live, Frank Productions. Those are essentially all one company, different subsidiaries. It's their new venue. It's 4,500 person capacity. It has about 1,500 seats on the upper level, 3,000 people on the first floor then, largely standing room. It's going to compete sort of with the Pabst Theater venues, sort of with the Rave, but they claim that there's this entire niche in the market at that size that is being unserved. You can't sell out an arena, but you can sell out more than what the Riverside Theater accommodates at like 1,800 people. So there's a gap. They claim it's going to be served by this new venue. It'll be very interesting to see. Go ahead.
I was going to say, so what's the hierarchy now? There's obviously Fiserv, Amphitheater, Landmark, as far as size?
Yeah, so those are Fiserv, Amphitheater. Those are 20,000-ish, really ballpark figures there.
So, but they're about the same.
Sure, yeah.
Okay, I was just trying to figure out like the hierarchy of the most. And then the most would be
American Family
Field. Okay.
Yeah. So this new venue is open. There's a sale going on today. There's several concerts up for sale for $25.
What's the big concert?
A band, and this is just me being old, that the first band that opens it is Rainbow Kitten Surprise, which sounds like something my daughter would name her toy. But
never heard of them.
I have also not heard of them.
But that is tomorrow night, and Sophie in our office says they're a great alternative band.
Well, that's cool.
And she is hipping with the people, so we'll trust her on that one.
Okay.
Really quick, two things. In January, there was a parking garage collapse inside a building on the northeast corner of downtown. It turns out the city inspects parking garages, but it doesn't inspect them structurally. So it looks if there's fire extinguishers. It looks like there's means of egress. It's now going to have a new policy, it being the city, to have a structural inspection requirement, but it's not going to require more city employees. It's going to be, hey, building owners, on a schedule based on the materials the building is built out of, you need to go hire an engineer to inspect your structure so that there's no collapses. This policy mirrors a facade policy that's already in place for the exterior of buildings. And then one more thing, the Edison, the stalled 31-story luxury high-rise, things have gone from bad to worse there. There's now $14 million in construction liens from many vendors. But more notably, for the first time, they now have a property tax debt to the city of Milwaukee. Property taxes were due on January 31st. They didn't pay. The city, if it goes unpaid for 3 years, the city can seize the property.
It does seem sort of wild, given the history of Milwaukee, especially in the county's side of things, about structural issues with parking structures, that it took this long to get to a plan and a process.
Apparently, there's inspectors that go in and they notice things and they flag them, but there's no formal process. So
I know that's the part that surprises me.
And it's worked until now, but yeah, it clearly didn't work on January 1st. And the issue, again, that the Department of Neighborhood Services points back to is saltwater penetration, which comes from our road salt, will eventually break down concrete structures.
Boy, that's that much salt, huh?
The photo of this looks remarkably thin for the amount of concrete there, so I also have questions about that.
All right, lots more to talk about with Jeremy Janine. I just looking up ahead here. This one about Milwaukee police oversight with the parental rights of minors. Just give me a tease on that one.
Bob Donovan has an amendment to a bill, and the question is if it's going somewhere, but somehow he tacked on a bill about Milwaukee policing to something that is interest outstate about kids that are over 14 and blocking their parents out of parental records. Very strange bedfellows.
Interesting. And then we always talk about sprinklers in Milwaukee. It's always on our conversation list.
Not always.
Yeah, it seems like it is.
And we have news on the sprinkler front. The city is trying to do something. The question is it enough?
All right. Since we had a little bit of time before the bottom of the hour news, if folks want to read the great writing that happens at urbanmilwaukee.com, how do they sign up?
Go to urbanmilwaukee.com. Everywhere on the page when you're reading an article, it'll try and bug you to join our email list. Please do that. And even better than that, become a member. You get an ad-free experience. You get to read all our paywalled articles. You get to read so much more than we get time to discuss.
And because our earlier tchotchke conversation piqued people's interest, the store, where it is, hours, just give us some of that.
10 to 6 every weekday, 10 to 4 on weekends, 755 North Milwaukee Street, kitty corner from Hotel Metro, right by Pfister Hotel.
Yeah.
All things Milwaukee and Wisconsin pride.
That's pretty cool that you have that store. How long has it been
I
around?
was going to say, how long have you had that compared to doing Urban Milwaukee?
So the store was an idea by Dave Reed and myself that we just wanted a cool office. And so we opened the store. And now we sell T-shirts that I'm wearing one of today, Milwaukee Pride.
I got to get a shirt.
It's been there since 2012.
All right, we have to get shirts. One of us will stop in and get a couple of shirts. So we got lots more to talk about with Jeremy and Janine. UrbanMilwaukee.com. We have an update on local news and big stories from Neil Doyle. Before we get to any of that, here's now the latest from ABC.
ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. The House Oversight Committee's closed-door deposition of former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton in the Jeffrey Epstein probe is taking place today outside New York City. Former President Bill Clinton testifies tomorrow.
As he kicked off 2 days of depositions, Republican Committee Chair James Comer made it clear.
We're not accusing Hillary Clinton of wrongdoing.
In a fiery opening statement, which she publicly released, the former Secretary of State said she'd never met Jeffrey Epstein, and she insisted she has no information to offer on his or Ghislaine Maxwell's crimes. Top Oversight Committee Democrat Robert Garcia says he wants a nonpartisan investigation.
And that's going to include ensuring that President Trump comes before our committee.
Stephen Portnoy, ABC News, Washington.
Nuclear talks resume today in Geneva between the U.S. and Iran, trying to finalize a deal as the U.S. builds up military forces in the Middle East. House Democratic leaders say they'll force a vote next week on a bipartisan Iran war powers resolution. On Wall Street this hour, stocks are down in trading. This is ABC News.
Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 11:31. I'm Neil Doyle. Bond is set at $2 million for the man accused of murdering his girlfriend in Wisconsin and then leaving her body in Michigan. 29-year-old Robert Chilcote faces one felony charge of first-degree intentional homicide in the death of his girlfriend, 24-year-old Gabriella Cardiania of Marinette. Prosecutors allege that Cardiania went missing on February 4th. Her mom then received a phone call where she heard her daughter saying, "Please don't shoot me." Chilcote was arrested the following day in Minnesota. Her remains were then found a week later in Menominee County, Michigan. A traffic stop leading to a drug bust in St. Francis. It happened early Wednesday. Officers say they found nearly a pound of marijuana, a digital scale, and baggies during that vehicle search. Police say the passenger admitted to being a drug dealer. He was taken into custody. A second passenger also arrested for an outstanding warrant. Wisconsin's healthcare workforce is continuing to grow, but not fast enough to meet rising demands. That's according to an annual report from the Wisconsin Hospital Association, which is warning of future shortages due to a shrinking labor pool. Healthcare demands are also expected to increase by about 10% over the next decade as the state's population continues to age. Time for news about your money and the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. Everything in the red. The Dow is off 168 points at 49,314. The NASDAQ is down about 1.5% at 22,789. And the S&P 500 is down 64 points at 6,881. Financial planning at every level. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Details at annexwealth.com. Let's take a look at the roads, your WTMJ Time Saver traffic. We got a lot on the map. It's really just disabled vehicles, though, kind of scattered across the system. Really none of them in traffic, not causing any issues, so full speeds otherwise across the system. Cloudy conditions as we move throughout the rest of today. We'll see a high up around 41 degrees. Tonight then, partly cloudy, a low of 31. Sunny, breezy, mild. We get a warm up tomorrow, a high near 58, but then we cool back down into the weekend. Cloudy skies on Saturday. We could see some light snow, a high of just 32, and then cloudy and colder on Sunday with highs in the mid-20s. Right now, it's 31 degrees in Madison. We're sitting at 32 degrees in Waukesha, and it's 32 degrees in Milwaukee. I'm Neil Doyle, Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 11:34.
Augustin Hadalick returns to the Milwaukee Symphony Orchestra March 6th and 7th as soloist in Mendelssohn's soulful and fiery violin concerto. Don't miss this opportunity to hear one of the most celebrated artists of our time as he teams up with music director Ken David Mazur for an unforgettable concert experience filled with gorgeous melodies. Call the box office now to reserve your best seats at 414-291-7605 or online at mso.org. These concerts will also feature the mighty and romantic Symphony No. 3 by Johannes Brahms, as well as a self-described companion work to the Brahms Third by Detlev Glanert. It's a program of audience favorites that is sure to feature some of the most inspired music making you've ever heard. Don't miss Hadalick and Brahms at the MSO March 6th and 7th only. Visit mso.org for tickets and more information or call 414-291-7605.
130 years of trusted community banking. Greg Matzik here reminding you since 1896, Horicon Bank has been proud to stand beside their neighbors. And in 2026, Horicon Bank is celebrating this milestone with a full year of special events and monthly celebrations across all of their Wisconsin branches. All this week, join them at their new Berlin location on Cleveland Avenue for gift card giveaways and raffle prizes. Visit horiconbank.com or follow them on social media. Horicon Bank, together doing good for 130 years.
A buck doesn't buy much unless you're spending it at Griffin. For just $1 over cost, you can buy brand new tires from us. This is Jim Griffin. Any major brand, $1 over our cost with free tire repair and lifetime rotation. We'll even show you the invoice to prove it. Our only requirements, we put them on for you. Buy one or the whole set. The dollar deal from Griffin. Milwaukee and Waukesha. Griffin. The buck stops here, but the deals on tires don't. That's Griffin.
Not combinable with other tire offers.
Well, welcome back to Point Taken. I'm Kristin. He's Steve. Jeremy Janine from Urban Milwaukee, president of Urban Milwaukee, is here. More sprinkler news, or maybe
more sprinkler. This is real news. It's going to happen.
Okay.
The question is, what kind of impact does it have? And again, we're talking about everything that's come in the wake of a deadly 5 people died in a Mother's Day fire in 2025, and kind of the public revelation that buildings built before 1973, even if they were built today, if they're built before that date, aren't required to have sprinklers unless they're massively retrofitted. And the question has been, in a lot of cases, what is the actual cost to do that retrofitting? There's been no good answer there. There's some competing answers. It's very expensive. It's very affordable. But there's no question that sprinklers would have saved lives, according to Fire Chief Aaron Lipsky, in this May disaster and in several other incidents that they would have been saving lives. So the city is constrained a lot by state law on what it can require. It can't supersede the building code, but it can incentivize people to put in sprinklers. And it's Peter Bergelis thinks he's found a way, Alderman Peter Bergelis, and that is to waive any permitting fees if you want to install sprinklers. Now, there is an example the city can look at to figure out, well, how much money would that actually save? And that is, we talked about previously, the city's actually subsidizing the installation of sprinklers in an affordable housing building on King Drive as part of its renovation. It's a building that barely missed that 1973 cutoff. And so now there's actual hard numbers, and it was $200-some thousand, $230, I think, off the top of my head. And the permitting fees were $2,200. So the city could forego that $2,200 in revenue, which it theoretically uses to fund its inspectors and to do plan review, and essentially reduce the cost of putting in the sprinkler system. Now the question is, does 1% matter? Is anyone actually going to step up and do it? Scott Spiker had the perspective, Alderman Scott Spiker, of, I wouldn't want to be a barrier, so let's eliminate any barrier we can, even if it doesn't really move the needle.
Yeah, slight help. Whether it moves the needle, as you said, I don't know. But I'm a fan of sprinklers, and clearly save lives.
Yes.
It gives you, the time that can save a family in the case of a bad fire. All right, so this one, you teased it a little bit. Milwaukee Police, Bob Donovan, parental rights.
So Bob Donovan was a longtime Milwaukee alderman. And
how long was it?
I got to go math in my head real quick.
Decades?
To at least 20 years.
Okay.
And he was the veteran on the council by the time he left, and he kind of retired. Then he ran for mayor, and he didn't win, and then he moved back to Greenfield, and now he's in the state legislature as a Republican. And he's been largely an ally of the city in many respects. He was like with Act 12, the sales tax bill, he was a key player there. With reckless driving bills, he's been a key ally there. And he's always been a big fan of rank and file police officers. That's through his time as an alderman and now as a legislator. He's been closely aligned with the Milwaukee Police Association and with the officers themselves, his family members that are in law enforcement. And so now he's done something interesting, which is that in Act 12, there was a grand bargain that Milwaukee, you're going to get a sales tax, you're going to get more shared revenue, but we're going to strip all these different policy provisions. The state legislature went after the streetcar, and one of the things they did is they went after the Fire and Police Commission. They took away their policy-making authority, but they put in a safeguard that the Common Council, who never had this authority before, with a 2/3 vote, can override any standard operating procedure, modify it, suspend it, change it, as long as the police department puts it in writing first. Bob Donovan tacked on an amendment to a completely unrelated bill about minors and the access to their health care records that would strip that authority away and require it to be a unanimous vote instead of a 2/3 vote. And the question is why. Bob Donovan hasn't answered my call or email asking why yet, but he got this snuck through in a voice vote, his amendment, and then the total package passed on a party line vote. The Senate needs to reconcile it. Governor Evers needs to sign it. So it might not go anywhere, but I got strong feedback from Mayor Cavalier Johnson on it. In a statement, he said it's a non-starter. The bill this amendment is attached to is objectionable. That said, the council's ability to affect police rules ought to be used judiciously. Ideally, council motions to amend police rules should be rare and acted on after thoughtful discussions with the department and with citywide elected officials. Now, the one thing is the council has never used this authority yet, which is probably the strangest part of why is Donovan going after this authority they've never used. It would be a big win for the police chief. He would have more authority, but would it be actually a win for rank and file police members? Unclear.
Not to speak for Bob Donovan, but he doesn't want the council to have that power.
Yeah, that's clear. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, easy. All right, we'll take a break. More drama with our elected officials. How about that? What a surprise. Surprising development in the conduct.
Sarcasm?
Yes.
Okay.
Deep, thick sarcasm.
Dripping sarcasm.
Yes. Kristin, Steve, point taken.
Imagine unpacking once and waking up somewhere new every morning. That's river cruising with Avalon and Fox World Travel. From castles along the Rhine to cafes on the Danube, Avalon's spacious ships put Europe right outside your window. Slower travel, deeper connections, and unforgettable views. Ready to let Europe come to you? Press the easy button and let Fox World Travel plan it all for you. Call 866-GO-FOX-GO to book your storybook vacation today.
Hair Volume from New Nordic will make your hair look thick and healthy. Hair Volume is available online at Amazon and NewNordicUSA.com or in the hair care aisle at your local CVS.
Recalculating route. Estimated arrival time. Never.
For people with nasal congestion, snoring, or sleep apnea, finding a solution feels like a never-ending road trip.
First stop, my primary doctor. Then the pharmacy. Then a sleep specialist. Then an ENT.
What if there was just one destination for all your problems?
Welcome to Advent, Milwaukee's one-stop solution for nasal congestion, snoring, and sleep apnea for over 20 years. Unlike many other practices, we focus exclusively on these conditions, so you get comprehensive care in one location. Over 95% of patients with severe nasal breathing issues report improvement. Plus, most insurance is accepted for our effective 20-minute in-office treatments.
You have arrived at Clear Breathing.
Before you go looking for an area rug that you'll have to settle for because you think that the one you really want will be out of your budget, come to Design Exchange, where you'll find a formidable selection of Oriental, Persian, and other wool area rug choices at 25 to 70% off retail. This is Katie with Design Exchange, where discerning buyers with discriminating tastes come to find premium home decor on consignment at a value. Design Exchange in Heartland and Pewaukee.
Design Exchange.
If you're trying to find really good, high-end, distinctive furniture, the kind they just don't make anymore, then come to Design Exchange. But you better get here quickly, because the best furniture we take in on consignment doesn't usually last long. It may be vintage, it may have once been out of your range, but now you'll find it's priced right. This is Katie with Design Exchange, where discerning buyers with discriminating tastes come to find premium home decor at a value.
Design Exchange.
Buy one pizza today, get a second pizza free at the Amazing Mineshaft restaurant in Hartford and in Oshkosh. Don't cook, don't even think about it. You don't need to clean up either. Call, order, and pick up shortly, or just walk in for your free Thursday pizza, mineshaft.com.
All right, Jeremy Janine, UrbanMilwaukee.com. You can find the great work there. And also that great story we were talking about earlier. I guess I'm not surprised that we have these kinds of stories, public officials doing bad things. And this one involves other public officials, though.
Yeah, by dint of what I report on, we talk a lot about the Milwaukee Common Council, and boy, did we talk a lot last week about the shouting.
Well, it's been a couple weeks in a row as far as just things not having to do with policy, but things having to do with confrontations. Is that a way to put it?
And here we are again. And what's different is, well, two things are different. One, we're going to talk about the state assembly, and two, we're going to talk about actual criminal charges.
Yeah.
Which again, none of the things we've talked about recently with, well, the Marty Brooks thing was investigated for that, but the shouting match between Chambers and Zamaripa, not investigated for criminal charges. But now we have the Milwaukee County District Attorney charging Wisconsin State Representative Sylvia Ortiz Velez with disorderly conduct for statements she made last August to a fellow assembly member. She is alleged to have threatened State Rep Priscilla Prado, they have bordering districts on the south side of Milwaukee, that she was going to tell the press, quote, negative things about Prado, quote, engaging in inappropriate personal actions. Now, there's a lot of different ways you can read that, and I won't speculate, but that is what the criminal complaint says. There was a witness to this that was another member of the Wisconsin State Assembly that was clear. I think, and this is Graham Kilmer's reporting, I think it indicated that person was also a male. Prado and Ortiz Velez are both Hispanic, but Ortiz Velez has broken with other Democratic Hispanic members and is not a member of the caucus of Hispanic members that Prado leads. You may remember that Ortiz Velez, around exactly the same time that these charges came, or that are alleged to have happened in late August, was temporarily banned from the Capitol and something that was later described as like an accident or a bureaucratic mistake.
Yeah.
But
so is there a connection? Or
I very much believe these are the very threats that were made that triggered that. We don't have that explicitly, and I assume that will come out. But again, we talked about the oddity of what was, like last week, it was this mask ban that was the trigger for all this. Well, what was this? It was that Prado did not involve Ortiz Velez in drafting the Hispanic Heritage Month resolution or a resolution honoring Latino veterans. And that's in the criminal complaint.
So I'm just trying to. The charge is that Velez Ortiz Velez said, I'm going to say negative things to reporters, and that qualifies as disorderly conduct? As a threat?
This led to a lot of discussion in the office yesterday about what is blackmail and what is disorderly conduct. And yes, threatening someone can be charged as disorderly conduct.
And it was over the fact that even though she does not caucus with the Hispanic caucus, she wanted to be included on this bill.
Correct.
Okay. Just
anyone
sure
know why she doesn't caucus with the Hispanic caucus?
Sylvia Ortiz Velez is... A wild card is an unfair thing to say. She is an independent mind. She is a Democrat, but she has been willing to make deals with the Republicans in the model of Lena Taylor, who I don't know that she considers a mentor, but
it's
was
always
an
about
ally.
politics. Yeah.
So there are partisan persuasions there at play.
Okay. So does this bar her from running again?
This is only a charge, but it comes.
I mean, yeah, but could this lead to her not running again?
I don't think a disorderly conduct. It's not a felony, so it wouldn't, in that sense, bar you from doing so. But it interestingly is filed a week. So this happened last August. These charges have now been filed a week after she has a primary challenger in the Democratic primary. And she's in a Southside district that basically whoever wins the Democratic primary wins the office.
Is that the other item that you had on the list?
I believe so, yes.
Yeah, so you want to just dip into that one?
Let me, and I got to go to Graham's reporting real quick and pull it up. But this challenger appears to be backed by the Democratic Party, although that's not formally happening yet. And I just want to
Let's do it. We'll take a break.
Yes, thank you.
Jeremy Jean, Urban Milwaukee, so we get set for our last and final segment of the Thursday edition. She's Kristin. I'm Steve. It is Point Taken on 620 WTMJ.
Hi, this is John Neal, CPA, best-selling author and founder of the Neal Group. Well, here we are. It's 2026. Remember last year when you said never again? Did it work? You didn't start your business to spend so much time doing bank reconciliations, cash flow projections, or inventory analysis. Let us help you keep your New Year resolution to stay on top of your finances and keep your books up to date. Don't do the same thing this year and expect different results. Start the year off on the right foot by calling the Neal Group to help you understand your numbers and make them better. You earned it. We help you keep it. Call 414-325-2040 now to set up a meeting to see how you can make 2026 the best year ever. The first meeting is free. That's 414-325-2040 or visit us at nealgroup.net. That's NEAL group.net.
Accunet Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLS ID 255368.
This is Brian Wickert with my son David, president of Accunet. David, we're pre-approving a lot of home shoppers this time of year. Why should someone choose Accunet for their pre-approval?
Dad, getting pre-approved with just any lender is like showing up to a first date in sweatpants. Sure, you're there, but are you really ready to impress? Our rock-solid pre-approval is like showing up in your best outfit with reservations already made. We also have an excellent reputation among real estate agents, so having Accunet's name on your pre-approval can make the difference.
What else?
In addition to clearly stating we verified your credit, income, and down payment, we'll also run the specific home you're looking to buy through our underwriting software to see if we can approve your loan without an appraisal, which sellers and their agents absolutely love. Bottom line, we do everything possible to help you win.
Thanks, David. Don't settle for anything less. Get started with your rock-solid pre-approval by clicking on the blue button today at Accunet.com. That's ACCUNET.com.
Hey Milwaukee, Christian Yelich here. I'm excited to invite you to our biggest home plate charity event yet, May 21st, 2026, with Isaac Slade from The Fray and Jake Owen performing at Landmark Credit Union Live. Every year, this event helps support organizations making a real difference right here in Milwaukee, from youth programs to scholarships to small business relief. Let's celebrate, let's give back, and let's make it a night to remember. For more information on tickets, please head to Yelly22concert.com.
Prizes, flyaways, even cash money. You want it? We've got it. Find a list of all contests and official rules by visiting WTMJ.com/contests.
That's WTMJ.com/contests.
Tune in to Wisconsin's Midday News with Greg Matzik and Jessica Ty.
Milwaukee police launched an internal investigation into the handling of information linked to allegations of sexual assault against the president of the Wisconsin Center District.
Bringing you the latest in news, sports, traffic, and weather.
Andrew Mountbatten Windsor has been arrested. The brother of King Charles, who was stripped of his royal titles due to his ties to Jeffrey Epstein, was arrested in the UK on charges of misconduct while in public office.
Every weekday from noon until 3 p.m. WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee from the Annex Wealth Management Studios. This is News Radio WTMJ, a Good Karma brand station.
In the city, perfect bump for Jeremy Janine. UrbanMilwaukee.com. All right, I challenge you to give us the latest update on this race. Now a primary challenge.
Yeah, so apologies and thanks for bailing me out, Steve. I could not remember the candidate's name, and it is a young progressive Democrat, Ismail Luna. Graham Kilmer has profiled the race for us on February 20th. Milwaukee Democrat faces primary challenger. Again, it's Sylvia Ortiz. She's a 3-term incumbent. She was also previously on the county board. There's a Democratic primary, so it's going to be settled on August 11th.
Yeah.
But essentially, the winner of this race on Milwaukee's south side, it might be the city's most heavily Hispanic district, the state's most heavily Hispanic district. The winner of the Democratic primary will walk into office in November because there won't be much of a Republican challenge. But we have a challenge now essentially from the left of Ortiz-Veliz. And again, Ortiz-Veliz has partnered with Republicans on something. She's fallen out of favor with her Democratic colleagues. And we talked about the disorderly conduct charge and the curious timing of it. But they both made interesting comments on ICE. Ortiz takes a far more nuanced stance on it, whereas Luna just wants to get, and I think it's his words, of heavy-handed ICE out of Milwaukee. Mm-hmm. So a great profile by Graham. It's like 2,000 words, so I won't attempt to summarize it all in just a couple of minutes. We also want to talk about some other things going on, and that is, I titled this as Man Bites Dog.
That, yeah.
Because it's not news if a new wedding venue pops up, but it is news if a wedding venue becomes office space after the pandemic, because that's really rare. Mm-hmm. The Miller Room, which is, we talked a little bit about O'Donnell Park before with relates to concrete failing for the county. The county sold O'Donnell Park, which is largely a parking structure, to the Milwaukee Art Museum. It includes what is the Betty Bryn Museum on top of it, and the Miller Room, a wedding venue where Kristin and I celebrated New Year's at noon with
We did.
with our kids.
With the kids, yeah.
With the kids, it was very fun.
So a wedding venue there that's going away. The Milwaukee Art Museum actually has employees in 4 different buildings. They're hoping to consolidate at least one of them out of the, I believe it's called the Gaslight Building, the building with the flame on top of it. They're going to move them into this wedding venue, and they're going to close the wedding venue, which is just interesting to see a wedding venue actually shutter.
Yeah.
Although it's in a building that is now aging. And the Betty Bryn Museum also confirmed this morning, Bruce Murphy reported this last year for Milwaukee, they are on the move. They're looking, so that whole building there at the Miller Pavilion getting totally shaken up.
So did they announce when they're leaving? Betty Bryn.
They did not, and they did not announce where they're going, although plug to Adam Roberts. He had an open records request a couple months ago that revealed they're looking at the Iron District site and several other locations throughout the city.
So is it thought that maybe just it wasn't a very popular wedding venue? I've never been invited to anything. I might go to Betty Bryn, but I've
certainly
never.
An issue. Yeah, I suspect it would need to be a marquee venue, and it's a lakefront venue, so it should be.
Yeah.
It probably needs a lot of investment.
I was at a
this
wedding
point.
there once.
Really?
Yeah,
How long ago?
A while.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
not recently. Anyway.
It feels very of the era. It was built 20, 30 years ago.
Yeah,
makes sense.
It would have been that long. Yeah, absolutely. All right, so whenever you hear the term jackhammer, I'm intrigued because I love that thing, that power tool. But this one has to do with pools.
Yeah, so Graham Kilmer has really been following this closely for several years now. The Milwaukee County Parks has more than a $500 million backlog of deferred maintenance.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the ways you can deal with that, and the county has tried this for years, is to get more revenue. They do beer gardens, they do like raising golf fees to try and then fund other parks improvement projects. Well, another way you can get rid of your backlog is to simply eliminate the items that need maintenance. And so the Parks Department has a whole list of projects or buildings and pools that it's moving forward with demolishing this year. This started back when Scott Walker was in office because of the county's fiscal reality. Scott Walker in office as county executive, of replacing deep water, deep well pools with splash pads.
Mm-hmm.
We now have a series of shuttered pools that are going to be essentially drilled out of existence.
Is Sheridan one of those, Cudahy?
I do not believe that's on the list at the moment.
Okay.
But Washington Park is for sure one. And then the question is exactly what it gets replaced with, a splash pad or something. The big reason the county does that, not only cheaper maintenance, but you need fewer people to staff it.
And real quick, the beer park, beer garden, those stories are interesting because I know, because I'm still plugged in a lot of local leaders, a lot of communities doing their own thing now. They're building their own sort of beer gardens and sort of areas where people can gather. That could at some point impact the revenue stream for the county's beer gardens.
Absolutely.
They're still popular, but they're all doing it because they realize it's a revenue source that they don't currently control. Watch that story. All right. Always, people said, why is Jeremy on? Because you bring the detail.
Who says that?
People ask me, why is Jeremy on for an hour? I go, because he brings detail. An hour's a long time on a show like ours. And you bring the detail. That's why you're here, man, because you have the stories that we may not necessarily talk about, but when you're done, I'm like, that was fascinating.
Learned a lot.
Yeah.
It's my weekly review to make sure I know everything that's happening in Milwaukee.
Yes.
There we go.
That's why you're here. Jeremy, Ginny, Urban Milwaukee. We're getting out of here. We got a Friday show with Bill and Joe.
No Bill.
No Bill, that's right.
Jay Curtis.
The Jay Curtis? Wow. All right, quick break for news. Lots more coming up.
Yes, Toradol is considered a strong pain reliever. It's one of the most potent non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs available. And absolutely, hyaluronic acid is used to treat shoulder, hip, elbow, and knee pain. It's a lubricating gel-like substance that reduces stiffness and improves mobility. It acts as a lubricant and shock absorber, reducing friction in the joint. And when we pinpoint the root of your pain, and we combine these powerful 100% FDA-approved pain relief medicines, if thousands of patient confirmations tell us anything, you're going to